Hi friends, this is Kathy and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do something different. I'm starting a new series called Freaky Friday, where every Friday we're going to be talking about freaky incidents and murder and mystery or crime story. So this is going to be like a story time, a storytelling type of a video. So I do want to let you know that this may require an adult viewer because of the content of what we're going to be talking about. It can be violent and it can be not PG friendly. So today we will talk about Jennifer Pan and who she is and what she has done. We're going to back up a little and start off with Jennifer's parents. Jennifer's mother, Vic Pan, and father, Han Pan, were both from Vietnam and they moved to Canada in 1979 under the political refugee program. So when they had moved to Canada, they saw the opportunity there, they strived and looked for a good working job. Jennifer's parents married in Toronto. I'm just not clear if they were already like a couple from Vietnam and then they moved together to Canada, or they met in Canada as refugees. But in any case, they got married in Toronto and they lived in Scarborough. In 1986, Vic gave birth to a baby girl by the name of Jennifer Pan. And in 1989, Vic gave birth to a baby boy who they named Felix. Vic and Han worked at Magna Auto Parts International. Jennifer's dad did the auto parts and die making department, and Jennifer's mom did the car parts. So I would say they work in an assembly line. So not a super glamorous job, but very, I guess it's sustainable and stable, right? Just like in any immigrant family story, you know, all you want to make sure is that you're given a good opportunity now. You're given a good opportunity to rebuild your life and start a new family and live the Canadian dream. I live in America, so it would have been an American dream. So in Canada, it would have been a Canadian dream. After working so hard, they bought a two-story house and lived in Markham. And Markham is a city in a greater Toronto where there's a large population of Asian Canadian families. Jennifer's mom, Vic, drove a Mercedes, and Jennifer's dad drove a Lexus, and they were able to save up to $200,000 in savings, and that's a pretty big deal. So if you think about it, if you're an immigrant and now you have a good job, I mean, you don't really have a glamorous job, but because you're frugal and you watch your expenses and you make sure that you're not just, you know, splurging and things like that, the family was able to, you know, buy a nice house in a nice neighborhood and drive cars. So in the Asian community, driving nice cars, it's kind of like not really showing off, but you know, you kind of represent to other families, to other Asian families, that you guys are doing well. So that says a lot about Jennifer's parents coming from Vietnam as refugees and working really hard, right? So that means they just want to make sure that they can give their children a better chance, a better opportunity. Jennifer's parents had set many goals, many financial goals, and made sure that all their education goals are preset and to make sure that Jennifer and her brother would follow through the preset career guide or career path, and that way their lives are going to be better than their parents. And this is very typical of Asian families. I mean, I myself is pretty much guilty of that. I want to make sure that everything is systematic, right? But for Jennifer, that is kind of like what you would call tiger parenting, that her parents are too restrictive. So let's go back a little bit when Jennifer was a bit younger. So Jennifer played the piano. She was registered to piano lessons and figure skating. So I kid you not, I don't know what's up with Asian families. Like I said, I myself, I'm guilty with it too. And I made sure that my kids know how to play piano, but it's like, I don't know, like a standard for Asian communities. I don't know. It's just, it is what it is. But so Jennifer was made to play piano lessons, and she was really good at it because later on she became like a piano teacher, which means she knows the thing. She knows how to do it, right? And then also, she also became a good figure skater. So to the point where her parents were like, oh my gosh, you're good at this. You're going to be in an Olympic Games someday and you're going to make us proud and you're going to be there. We're going to see you on TV doing figure skating, right? But later on, Jennifer actually hurt herself and was not able to perform figure skating on a professional level anymore. So that career path was cut short. So all you got left is the piano lesson thingy, or the piano career path, right? But it's more than just that. And Jennifer's parents wanted her to become a doctor. Again, it's the same thing with Asian families. You know, you're gonna be a doctor, you're gonna be an engineer, you're gonna be in a medical field, or whatever. So it's still up to you as a child, as a daughter, or as a son. You know, you just got to communicate with your parents. But in this case, Jennifer's parents are just like this type of tiger parenting, right? Like, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. So Jennifer went to Mary Ward Catholic Secondary School, and she graduated with flying grades, with flying honors. She actually even won scholarships. She was offered and accepted the offer to go to the pharmacology program at the University of Toronto. So her parents were like super thrilled. They're like, oh my gosh, here's my firstborn, my daughter, graduated with flying colors in high school and now is in the pharmacology program at the University of Toronto. Like, what could go wrong, right? Everything is just so systematic the way her parents wanted her to be. Also, Jennifer, along the lines of that, Jennifer wanted to stay closer to the campus. So she had told her parents that I'm going to stay with a friend in the campus during the weekdays so I can concentrate on my studies. And also, I started volunteering at a hospital, so I'm going to be super busy. That's what Jennifer told her parents. Now, I believe on weekends she would go home and then go back to the campus living with this friend during the weekdays. And then, so her parents were like, especially her dad started doubting, like, what is going on with this volunteership? Because I don't see Jennifer wearing scrubs. I didn't even see any badge, like a hospital badge, because wouldn't you be proud, like, you're doing volunteership at the hospital? You're probably gonna flaunt your badge to your parents and your little brother, like, hey, look, I have a badge, I can go to the hospital, I'm volunteering, yada yada yada. But there was none of that. So her dad became suspicious, like, what is going on? So he followed her at the hospital one time and found out that Jennifer was actually lying. So he was so mad, and they also found out that Jennifer wasn't staying at the campus with a friend. She was actually staying with a boyfriend named Daniel Wong. And come to find out that she actually never officially graduated from high school because she failed one of her classes and was not eligible to graduate. So lies after another lie. So she never got a scholarship. She never graduated from high school, and she was never offered and never accepted, or never offered the pharmacology program at the University of Toronto. So Jennifer's parents were like, what the heck is going on? Why so many lies? I mean, you see Jennifer, she looks so like an angelic face, like she would never do anything, or she is not capable of doing such a big of a lie, right? So it turns out Jennifer was actually, during those school days, she would actually hang out in cafes and teach piano lessons to actually sustain herself, right? And also she would use that money to buy secondhand textbooks at the university, and she would do a lot of work. Actually, she would do a lot of work. She would do, like, write her notes pretending that she's actually in school. All of that just for this fake life of the other side of Jennifer. So her parents were devastated, and they were like, okay, it's either you stop seeing your boyfriend, okay, and you can stay at my house, or I'm gonna kick you out. And Jennifer decided to stay at her parents' house. And at that time, I guess Daniel Wong and Jennifer were kind of like at a breakup stage, and Jennifer was like, no, you're the love of my life, I can't deal with this, you know. And she actually lied to Daniel and said that she created this incident where she claimed that there were a group of people that came to their house and did something bad to her, and that, you know, Daniel's present girlfriend at that time sent her a bullet to threaten her. So she would do anything just to get Daniel back. He is the love of her life. She would do anything. So here we are. There was this one day that Jennifer's at home, and then all of a sudden, Jennifer said that she heard some commotion downstairs. She was upstairs, she was in her bedroom. She heard commotions downstairs, and this guy came to her room and ransacked her room and tied her hands on her back and tied her up on the railing of the staircase. And then after that, she heard gunshots downstairs that supposedly that her parents were shot. And she was just so frantic, and she called 911.
Where are you, ma'am? Please, just go ma'am, calm down. What? Some people broke into our house. Okay, to show us all his money. Okay, ma'am, where are you? Can you spell the street name for me, please? Dad? Hello?
And found out that her parents were shot, brutally shot multiple times, and that she was a victim of a robbery. Jennifer's mother, Vic, died right away because of multiple gunshots to her back and also to her head. Jennifer's dad got multiple shots as well, and there was actually a bullet on his face too, but he didn't die. So he ended up on a coma in a hospital, so they couldn't interview him, and all that's left is Jennifer. At this point, I don't know where Jennifer's brother is. He's probably either in school or out. I don't know where he was at the time of the incident, but he wasn't there. So it was just Jennifer's parents, Vic and Han, and Jennifer. This incident happened on November 8, 2010, and Jennifer was the only one that can be interviewed because she was the main survivor of the incident. So as they were interviewing Jennifer, she was laying out, you know, what happened. She was just in her bedroom and she heard the commotions and things like that. As they were interviewing her, they noticed some inconsistencies. So they even made her demonstrate how she was tied on the back and how she was able to manage to grab her phone and dial 911. So she was able to demonstrate, like she said that her phone was on her pocket, and she kind of like did this to grab her phone and dial 911.
And I want you to stick that in your waistband as an example. Okay, so just take your sweat off, because this will be a very smooth, very quick thing. It's a one-time demonstration. I'm not going to ask you to repeat it.
I tied my upper arm
Yes?
around the banister,
Yes?
but my hands are bound together.
So now how can you get to the phone? And how do you make the phone call?
So apparently the way that she was tied was kind of loose, when the robbers or the intruders' main motive is to rob and kill, and yet they tied Jennifer loosely where she can actually like move her arms around and grab her phone, right? Another thing is that if you're in your bedroom and an intruder comes in, I don't think I would be able to think to grab my phone. I think that would be the last thing that I would think of, because I'm gonna be in shock, like, who the heck are you? Why are you in my bedroom? And what are you doing here? I would probably panic and freeze up, and I probably won't even remember to grab my phone, let alone put it on my pocket, right? That's one of the inconsistencies, or kind of like the police investigators were like, that's kind of off. One of the major things is that she didn't show any emotion at all. She would cry, but there's actually no tears flowing. And it was just like, it didn't seem like she's the kind of person that would be suffering sadness and devastation and shock because of the incident. It just didn't look like she was affected at all, the way that one person should be affected with a tragedy like this. So they kept investigating Jennifer, and finally on the third investigation, they brought in a special investigator, a special detective that specializes in these kind of cases. And it was like a lot of grilling and just a lot of questions that were asked to Jennifer. It can be confusing as well. The investigation was done so strategically, where it was just amazing, because even the spacing of where Jennifer was sitting at and the investigators' distance from where Jennifer is sitting at, and all the body movements and all the facial expressions and all the responses that you would be making, they're all very strategically planned out to help Jennifer say the truth of the incident. So at the end of it, the investigator was asking Jennifer, I can help you. And Jennifer said that, how? By telling the truth. And so Jennifer broke down. What had happened is that Jennifer is so sick and tired of their tiger parenting, of how strict they were, and how Jennifer couldn't do anything. Like, Jennifer couldn't have a boyfriend when she was in school, and they're just managing every single part of her life that she just wants them gone, and spend some time and spend the rest of her life with Daniel Wong. So Daniel is Jennifer's knight in shining armor, her Prince Charming, her knight, and just her future. And she will do anything to be with Daniel and live in a white picket fence house in Toronto. And I don't know who would think that. I just don't know how one can think that way, because you can't just do that. It's a poor way to repay your parents. So just because you want to be with Daniel, you just want to kill your parents? Is that the best solution? I don't know what she's thinking, right? And it was just so out of this world. But okay, so going back to the case. So what had happened is Jennifer and Wong had been planning this all this time. So Jennifer and Daniel had been planning on this one until they finally hired a professional hitman, and they are going to pay that professional hitman $10,000, because Jennifer is calculating that she's probably gonna get about $500,000 from her parents' death. So it could probably be like the real estate or 401k, retirement, life insurance, or whatever else they have on their investment. But that was what Jennifer is projecting. So they're gonna pay this hitman $10,000, and the rest is gonna be hers and Daniel's. On the night of the murder, on November 8th of 2010, Jennifer had unlocked the door, and then she went back upstairs to her bedroom and turned off her lampshade on and off, and that's the signal for the intruders to come into the house. So there were actually 3 people that came in, apparently tied Jennifer. I don't know at what point they tied Jennifer, because Jennifer's dad, upon waking up from the coma, had said that he actually saw Jennifer come downstairs and was being friendly with the intruder. So apparently it seemed like they know each other. And if the parents were being held at gunpoint, why wasn't Jennifer on the same situation, right? So according to Jennifer, apparently, so that's what happened, and she was tied in the back, and that they were supposed to kill, the hitmen were supposed to kill her parents, but only her mother died. And she was not successful in doing her plan. So Jennifer was arrested on November 22nd of 2010, and then consequently Daniel Wong and the 3 other hitmen were arrested. Jennifer and Daniel received a life sentence of imprisonment. At a later interview, Felix, Jennifer's little brother, had said that he was not expecting this coming out of Jennifer, that he believed her because she's his big sister, and that everything she does is believable, like everybody else in her family. And he could just not imagine how she could have done such a horrendous crime like this to get rid of their parents. At this point, I don't know where Jennifer's dad is at. I'm pretty much sure he's living a low-key life. It's pretty embarrassing and pretty shocking for the Asian community to have something like this, have an incident like this. It's a huge tragic story. And if you know about if you're familiar with Jennifer's case, go ahead and put your comments down below. I'm pretty much sure I missed quite a few Easter eggs, or quite a few important items, and I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoy this story time telling, go ahead and hit that like button and the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get notified on our next Freaky Friday storytelling. Thanks for watching. Bye, friends.